What if Osiris, Isis, Horus, and Ra were not myths carved in stone, but beings of flesh, fire, and metal? Visitors from the stars who walked among pharaohs.
For thousands of years, their names have been whispered as legends, but hidden in the hieroglyphs are clues no one was meant to see. Diagrams of flight, maps of Orion, records of machines descending in fire. The pyramids tell one story, the temples another, but the gods tell the truth. And that truth may rewrite everything we think we know about human history. This is not mythology, this is testimony. Before we begin, pause and ask yourself this: could the gods of ancient Egypt have been more than myth? Watch closely, because every symbol, every stone, every story may hold a clue. Stay with us. By the end, you might never see history the same way again. Osiris, the Lord of Orion. The pyramid texts, the oldest religious writings on Earth, carved over 4,400 years ago, speak of a god who came from the stars. His name? Osiris. His destination? Orion. Egyptian priests didn't describe Osiris as a distant, intangible spirit. They called him Sahu, the celestial form of Orion, the place from which he descended, and the place to which the dead hoped to return. The Great Pyramid itself is aligned so precisely with the belt of Orion that modern engineers still marvel at the accuracy. Was this alignment a tribute or a landing signal? Osiris was more than a deity of death and resurrection. His mythology speaks of a being who was cut into pieces, scattered across the land, and reassembled through divine intervention. But what if that was not a metaphor for the afterlife? What if it was the memory of a being broken apart, literally dismembered? Some scholars argue that Osiris was the bringer of civilization, the one who taught humans agriculture, architecture, and medicine. Ancient astronaut theorists go further. They argue Osiris wasn't a teacher by choice. He was a survivor, a traveler from Orion who crash-landed on Earth, sharing his knowledge not out of generosity, but out of necessity. And if Osiris came from Orion, who came with him? Isis, the star of Sirius. The answer lies in the goddess Isis. She was not just Osiris's consort, she was his cosmic counterpart. Her star, Sirius. Every year, the heliacal rising of Sirius announced the flooding of the Nile, the single most important event in Egyptian life. The priests knew it with uncanny precision. They measured a 1,461-year cycle based on Sirius, a calculation so exact it rivaled modern astronomy. How could a Bronze Age society know this? The pyramid texts describe Isis as a healer, a magician, the one who restored Osiris from death. But the hieroglyphs tell a deeper story. When Isis is invoked, the glyphs combine sky, fire, and metal. Were the Egyptians describing not magic, but technology? Machines of the sky blazing like fire? Modern astrophysics revealed Sirius is not one star, but a binary system. Sirius A and a faint white dwarf companion, Sirius B. Sirius B is invisible to the naked eye, discovered only with 19th century telescopes. Yet ancient Egyptian and Dogon traditions describe it clearly, thousands of years earlier. How? If Osiris came from Orion, Isis came from Sirius. Together, they formed a cosmic pair, teacher and healer, builder and restorer. And their knowledge transformed the Nile Valley into the most advanced civilization of its time. But their legacy didn't end there, because their son, Horus, would carry their power into the skies. Horus, the Falcon of the horizon. Horus, the falcon-headed god, was always shown between earth and sky, a being of flight, vision, and power. But was the falcon merely symbolic or literal? The dream stele, standing between the paws of the Great Sphinx, records a vision of Horus as Horem Akhet, Horus of the horizon. In the dream of Prince Thutmose, the Sphinx speaks, promising kingship if the sands are cleared away. But in the hieroglyphs, Horus is described not as a statue, but as a being who could travel with great winds and descend in fire. Look closely at depictions of Horus, seated with hands outstretched, gripping what look eerily like control levers. His great eye, the Eye of Horus, is more than a symbol of protection. It resembles a schematic of a cross-sectioned human brain, complete with optic nerve, thalamus, and pineal gland. A design so accurate it suggests advanced anatomical knowledge, or advanced optics, like a heads-up display. Even the Sphinx itself may be tied to Horus. Facing directly east, it aligns with the rising point of the constellation, Leo, in 10,500 BC, the epoch known as Zep Tepi, the first time, when gods walked the earth. Was Horus not just a deity, but a pilot? A being who commanded the skies in ways the ancients could only describe as falcon flight? If Osiris brought knowledge and Isis brought restoration, Horus brought power. He was the one who fought, the one who soared, the one who bridged the world of men and the realm of the gods, and above them all burned the light of Ra. Ra, traveler of the sun. Ra, the supreme sun god, was not just a symbol of daylight. He was the captain of a vessel, the solar bark, that sailed across the sky each day and through the underworld each night. Egyptologists call it myth. But what if it was memory? Ancient hymns describe Ra's arrival, thunder, fire, shaking earth. These are not the words of sunrise. These are the words of descent. The roar of engines, the fire of propulsion, the tremor of landing. Every morning, Ra emerged anew, reborn after traveling through the night sky. Was this not resurrection, but refueling? Was Ra's daily cycle not a metaphor, but an observation of technology beyond human comprehension? The priests who worshipped Ra understood more than they should have. They tracked the solar year to 365.25 days, more accurate than calendars invented 3 millennia later. They understood the precession of Earth's axis, a 26,000-year cycle of the heavens. They mapped the Sothic cycle with Sirius. Knowledge not discovered by science until much, much later. And what did Ra promise? That one day, when the stars aligned as they did in the first time, he would return. Osiris from Orion, Isis from Sirius, Horus of the horizon, Ra in his blazing ship. These were not abstract gods of myth. These were beings tied to the stars, beings who walked among men, beings who carried knowledge that outlasted empires. But this is only the beginning, because if these gods came from the heavens, then others followed. Thoth, keeper of wisdom, Anubis, guardian of gateways, and Akhenaten, the Pharaoh who may have carried alien blood. The gods are not gone. They are waiting. If Osiris, Isis, Horus, and Ra were the bringers of knowledge, flight, and fire, then others held the keys to mysteries even deeper. Beneath the sand, beneath the stone, beneath the stories we thought we knew, more gods waited. Thoth, the keeper of forbidden knowledge. Thoth, scribe of the gods, lord of wisdom, guardian of secrets. According to legend, Thoth authored 36,525 books, containing every science, every law, every mystery of the universe. The Greeks identified him as Hermes Trismegistus. Alchemists swore his writings revealed how to transcend death itself. But what if these weren't mystical allegories? What if they were technical manuals? The Emerald Tablets, attributed to Thoth, describe technologies that sound eerily familiar to modern ears. Anti-gravity, interdimensional travel, the transfer of consciousness into other bodies. Words dismissed as allegory may instead be eyewitness accounts of advanced science. And then there's the Hall of Records, a mythical library said to be hidden beneath the Giza Plateau, sealed since the first time. For centuries, Egyptologists called it a fable, But in 1998, ground-penetrating radar revealed vast chambers beneath the Sphinx, exactly where ancient texts said Thoth concealed his knowledge. Access was immediately restricted. What did they find? Did Thoth's library survive, waiting to be uncovered? If so, it could contain the blueprints not just of Egypt, but of human civilization itself. Anubis, guardian of gateways. Where Thoth kept the knowledge, Anubis kept the doors. The jackal-headed god is remembered as the guide of souls into the afterlife. But the pyramid texts describe Anubis as opening doors in the sky through which the pharaoh's soul could join Ra among the stars. Doors in the sky, portals, stargates. Hieroglyphs in Saqqara show Anubis not only standing at thresholds, but manipulating strange panels and surrounded by symbols that resemble circuit diagrams. Were these really religious motifs, or technical schematics misinterpreted as sacred art? Imagine the Egyptians witnessing a being who could literally open gateways, bend distance, fold space. To them, it was the divine passage to the afterlife. To us, it might be evidence of technology that even now pushes the boundaries of theoretical physics. If Anubis was guardian of gateways, what exactly was passing through them? Akhenaten, the pharaoh who defied the gods. Then came Akhenaten, the pharaoh unlike any other. Ruling from 1353 to 1336 BC, he abandoned the traditional pantheon. He declared that only one force, Aten, the solar disk, was worthy of worship. But look at the depictions of Akhenaten and his family. Elongated skulls, slender limbs, wide hips, alien-like features, unique in 3,000 years of Egyptian art. Egyptologists dismiss it as artistic style. But what if it was realism? What if Akhenaten's appearance was not symbolic, but genetic? In 2021, leaked reports from Cairo University suggested DNA anomalies in the mummies of the Amarna dynasty, anomalies incompatible with normal human evolution. If true, Akhenaten may not have been entirely human. He may have been something else, a hybrid. The Amarna letters, diplomatic documents from his reign, contain bizarre accounts from foreign rulers. They describe fire from heaven, gods walking among men, and even silver birds landing in their lands with messages from Akhenaten. Were these metaphors, or first-hand descriptions of technology beyond comprehension? After Akhenaten's death, his city was destroyed, his name erased, his memory cursed. Why such brutal suppression? Was it politics? Or was it because Akhenaten revealed a truth the priests could never allow to survive? Isis, the mother of Starborn kings. We return now to Isis, not only the healer of Osiris, but the mother of Horus, the mother of kings. Isis was tied not only to Sirius, but to the very concept of divine bloodlines. Egyptian pharaohs called themselves sons of Isis, claiming descent not from mortals, but from the Starborn. In her myths, Isis uses advanced knowledge, called magic, to conceive Horus after Osiris's death, a miraculous conception, or a form of genetic engineering. In the pyramid texts, Isis is described as she who knows the names of the gods, not titles, names. Could this mean knowledge of frequencies, codes, or even genetic markers? Her role as mother of the divine kingship suggests she was more than symbolic. She was the architect of a bloodline that carried traces of the gods into human rulers. And if her bloodline survives, could it still run through human veins today? The return of the gods. From Thoth's hidden books to Anubis's stargates, from Akhenaten's alien blood to Isis's starborn heirs, a pattern emerges. Egypt's gods were not abstract symbols of nature. They were beings, teachers, gatekeepers, genetic engineers, travelers of the stars. The pyramid texts foretell their return, when the stars align as they did in the first time. And according to astronomical models, that alignment is happening again, now, in our lifetime. So we must ask, were the Egyptian gods truly divine? Or were they visitors, extraterrestrial, interdimensional, technological, mistaken for gods by a civilization striving to understand them? The evidence is carved in stone, written in stars, buried beneath the sands. Osiris, Isis, Horus, Ra, Thoth, Anubis, Akhenaten. They were not just gods of Egypt, they were emissaries of something far greater. And as new discoveries in 2025 reveal hidden chambers, forbidden texts, and artifacts that should not exist, one question grows louder than ever. Now, it's your turn. Were Egypt's gods divine beings, or visitors from the stars mistaken for gods? Drop your theory in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, because the next discovery might not just change history. It could change our future.